Welcome to another episode of Unique Opinions. I'm your host, Cherish Unique. Today I brought with me a special guest. He's a Pasadena native, Pasadena City Council District 3 candidate, a two-time author, a community organizer, a neighborhood advocate, and those are just to name a few. Please help me welcome Mr. Brandon D. Lamar.
Let's go. Every time somebody introduces me, I always think it's a lie.
Right. So much. Well, thank you so much for joining me today. It means so much to me that you were able to come. But like you said, leading up to the introduction, it was like I said, there's no way I'm gonna be able to introduce everything that Brandon does for this community. You know, you career-wise, you wear so many hats, you play so many roles, and you're great at all of them. To me, you're just so many great people in one person, if that makes sense. You know, every time I see you, you're working. Like when we're in public and I greet you, either you're leaving work, you're coming to work, or you're at work already. And I think that's just a beautiful thing. So this interview is about you. It's about me giving you your flowers, and those that are watching able to agree and do the same. So as I mentioned, the first thing I said, Pasadena City Council, District 3 candidate. And this is something you ran for a few years back. Now you're here again, and it just seems more like you have arrived at this moment. It feels brighter, the moments feels more clear. And you know, so what was the idea behind the decision of you running for political office in District 3, and who or what influenced that?
Yeah, so I ran actually last year.
Right.
2022 I ran. I got 41% of the vote, first time coming out, ran against an incumbent. And running against an incumbent, you know, typically people go with that person.
Right.
You know, they support that person, which is fine. 3 weeks after the election, the incumbent that I ran against passed away.
Oh, man.
And then our city council did an appointment process. They moved somebody from one district to the next district to our district, and they decided to go with that person. So for me to run again, that was really the point, was like, you know, at the end of the day, it's our communities who are dealing with the dysfunction of society and dysfunction of government. And so I have to jump in there to try to bring some hope to this, right? But also some deciding factors was in my district, and just in 2023, there's over 70 shootings that has happened in District 3. From young people passing away to older to middle age. Not only that, but then also affordable housing. The median rent in my district is $2,300 for a one-bedroom apartment. The median house is $1.3 million. And that's just to buy, right?
Right.
And so just see those disparities of people actually moving away, that there's people that's born and raised in Pasadena, that's from Pasadena, went to the schools in Pasadena, but can't afford to live in Pasadena. So we move into other states, we move into other communities. And so, you know, those are really the things that has grasped me to run for office, because, you know, I'm sick of the norm at the end of the day. And so, yeah, that's really what it is.
And that's you know, that's crazy you say that in that way, because those are the biggest issues that we're dealing with, especially in District 3. But I did see an interview or you speaking somewhere, and you mentioned also your influence being your grandmother, who I also had the opportunity to meet, known to me as Mother Evans, Dorothy A. Evans, to a lot of others around the world. And you know, she was just very genuine, authentic. You know, her energy, you felt it when you was around her. Well-respected woman, amazing woman of God, you know, and was respected in the neighborhood, but, you know, in states and around the world, believe it or not, people wouldn't know that about her. But her main thing, and another thing that you mentioned, she loved the people.
Absolutely.
Loved the people. And, you know, while she was here, you know, that's our background kind of. We met through her church. That's our background to how we met each other, through her church. So, you know, for you, and when she was here, some of her last days, you was with her. You was up under her wing, very close. So how did, you know, some of her words, her actions, and the things she did prepare you for some of these moments you're in right now?
Yeah, that's a good question. For me, it's, you know, I was always taught that you can't serve the people if you don't love the people. And so my district is really about serving people, because District 3, with all the districts in Pasadena, but District 3 mainly, is the most complex district ever. We're the most diverse district in the city of Pasadena area. We have Northwest Pasadena, Community Arm.
Right. Because I'm about to say, a lot
Kings
of people know what
Villages.
District 3 exactly is. So it goes through the streets of, is Fairhouse considered that? Just the whole west side.
So it's like Washington and El Molino all the way over to the freeway, west of the freeway, and then south from Washington all the way south to Colorado.
Oh, man.
So we have that big area, City Hall, Police Department,
That's all District 3.
downtown Pasadena, all that's District 3 as well.
Oh, my goodness. Okay.
So we're very diverse, right? And so you still have a part of the city who doesn't even know what happens in Northwest Pasadena. We have the Playhouse District by Target, right? And so that's one world over there, and it's a whole nother world across the street.
Like 2 different lives.
So, she really embedded in me that you cannot serve the people if you don't love them. And so everything I do is with love. It has nothing connected to me. I don't gain anything from it. I don't get paid for what I do at all. And so it's literally the love that God has placed in my heart for hurting people. It's literally the least of these, right? When I see people sleeping on the street, when I see people and I knock on their door and they can't afford, they're trying to figure out if they're gonna buy their kids school clothes, or they're gonna pay rent, or are they gonna buy them clothes, or whatever the case may be. And so, it's really the love of the people. And I saw that example in my grandmother, and that was the biggest example that I can see of love, because it was unconditional love, right? It was a space of, me loving you without looking for anything back. And that's how I am with my community. I don't look for nothing back. I just do it because I love it.
Oh my goodness. And we need people like you in our community. I loved your grandmother so much. She kind of felt like she was mine. So she'll be 100% proud of you and happy, I'm sure.
Appreciate that.
What you're doing for your community right now. So when we think like, politics and community, and you think about me, I understand what's going on when it comes down to voting and understanding, making right decisions. But if it's somebody, where should one start when they want to educate themselves on, the politics or issues going on in the community? Or how does it relate to where you started? Did you start going to town hall meetings? Did you start reading and researching newspapers? Like where should one person start when they want to educate what's going on in my community and where can I help at?
So there's a few different things. If you want to get into the work of community work or politics, which I really hate the word politics.
Yeah, I'm about to say,
but
so many
if you want to get into the world of that, I started off at 23 years old as a commissioner. And so I became a commissioner, and I was on the Human Relations Commission. I was on the I was the chair of the Human Relations Commission for the last 2 years. And we did a lot of work within that last 2 years. And now I'm the vice chair of the Pasadena Rental Housing Board, trying to get more affordable housing into the city of Pasadena and try to stop people from moving away from the city.
I said you do so much, man.
Yeah.
You can't even talk about it.
So that's that part of it. But, at the end of the day, I tell people, especially for us, and I'll give you some numbers. In my district alone, there's 19,000 people in my district. 11,000 people are registered. So that means there's 8,000 people that's not even registered to vote in my district that can vote, but they're not registered to vote. There's 11,000 people in my district that are registered to vote. And when I ran against John Kennedy, only 2,600 people voted.
Oh my goodness.
Before that, in 2017, John Kennedy ran unopposed. Only 1,200 people voted. And that was the most that district has ever seen. 2013, when 3 people ran against each other, it was John and 2 other people, 976 people voted, and that was the most that district has ever seen. So being the most diverse district in the city, but the district with the most complex needs in the city, you can tell that people are just not into voting. So my thing is pushing the next generation of people, pushing my generation of people, pushing us to actually get out there to vote, because when people say that their vote doesn't matter, it really does. Forget the presidential race, forget the senator race, look at city council, look at school board, look at PCC, Pasadena City College, and look at all that stuff that's locally, because it's really the local government that governs our life. It's the local government that tells you how much taxes you're gonna pay. It's the local government that's gonna tell you if you're gonna have affordable housing or not. It's the local government that's gonna tell you if you're gonna have parks and recreation or not, and the money that's gonna be distributed to this stuff. It's the local government that's gonna say, hey, I'm going to give you some money for your business, for your small business.
Right.
And so, we really have to look at these local governments, which is city council.
Right.
And I would say if you haven't voted before, then start locally. Get involved locally, find out who you can support locally, because that's really what matters at the end of the day. Presidential elections, they matter too. But for us, in our daily life, it's the local city council races. And then at the end of the day, we're the ones who actually governs the races, right?
Right.
Because the young people pushed Obama to win.
That was the main thing, yeah.
It wasn't no old people, wasn't no people that always voted.
Right.
It was the young people in college that just came out of high school and all that kind of stuff. We're the ones who pushed Obama to win. And also, let's be honest, we're the reason why Trump won too. Why? Because we didn't vote. Once Obama got out of election, we was like, hey,
everybody
we good.
Kinda,
so it was like nothing else for us.
So what are you saying is the main reason that you think that minorities are not
Trust. Trust. We voted for Obama because Obama looked like us.
Yeah. Right. I mean,
it was like that's just what it is.
Yeah.
He looked like us, and so it was like, oh, we got a black dude. I was gonna say another word, but I can't say it in the position I'm running for. But we got a black dude running for president in our time. So
that was different.
And we pushed our peers, right?
We did.
It's the same thing with George Floyd, right? George Floyd got killed, and it was us. We literally organized a protest in Pasadena, and we had 6,000 people standing out in front of City Hall.
Just for that
one moment. And it wasn't just black people. It was whites, Asians, orange, purple, blue, everybody.
It was mixed in there.
And that's really what it is.
Right.
And so we have to get to the point to where we're more engaged in local policy so that we can see it work for our generation. At the end of the day, with the route that we're going, we can't afford a $1.3 million house. It's not gonna happen right now, right?
Like that, it's just not.
We got to do a lot.
It's not gonna work. Yeah.
So,
Great points you make right there, and I hope that we can kind of overcome whatever that is for us as far as this generation to kind of figure out how we can be led and trust that. All right. So as I mentioned, I said in the beginning, I said you play many, career-wise, you wear many hats, you do different things in the community. Let's put on the cap of Brandon, the two-time author, right? You did one book called The Queen of Me. You did another one, The King and Me. They were both illustrated by Ronnie Robles. What was your inspiration behind even becoming an author and, behind creating the books that you created so far? Yeah,
so, The King and Me and The Queen of Me are affirmations that every young king and queen should know while growing up. And I think a lot of our young people, they might go astray because they're not affirmed in the right way, right? I'm about to go Christian on you a little bit. So the Bible says, train up a child in the way that they should go. And when they get old, they wouldn't depart from the training. Now that can go either positive or negative. However you train the kid, when they get older, they're not gonna depart from that training.
Right.
In a negative way or in a positive way. And so for us, when I created The King and Me and the Queen and Me, it was really to give affirmations that young kids should know without any guidance, so to say. So for me, I was blessed. 3 days old, I was born, or not 3 days old. I was born in the Rodney King riots in '92, right? And at 3 days, my actual birth mother gave me up. And my birth mother gave me up. A lot of people don't know the story, but she gave me up. And I went to my godparents, who are my parents, Jackie and Curtis. Yep. And so that's how I got the family that I have. But after I'd done some research, I did the research of in foster care youth, at the end of the day, there's over 25,000 foster care young people in the county of Los Angeles. That's more than any other state in the United States of America. Also, when it comes to foster youth has the highest rate of going to jail, the highest rate of prison sentences, the highest rate of mental health, being in mental health facilities, the highest rate of depression, the highest rate of poverty, the highest rate of homelessness. Foster care beats every single one of them. And so I wanted to create a book to speak to young people that I might never see in my life. I might never get to talk to, but they can talk to me through this book. Wow. And so the book is to really give them affirmations that they can literally read And when I came in from king and queens, at the end of the day, especially in the black community, our crown is our hair.
Top notch.
If it start raining outside,
absolutely.
you're going to see a whole lot of women
Especially
trying to figure out what they going to put. They're going to take some jackets and
Umbrella,
everything to figure it out.
Plastic bags, everything.
And for us, you know, we get our hair cut, we get trims. You know, at the end of the day, I was at the barbershop last night at 10 o'clock. It was like, you know, I cannot come to this interview and not get my crown done. Right. And so, you know, it was really pulling in to the young person about who they are. You are a king. You know, you're made to be a king. At the end of the day, make sure people know your name and how to pronounce your name. Don't just let anybody pronounce your name any type of way, right? Yep. And so we say those type of things, and then I get emails saying, you know, you really help my kids stand up for themselves. One lady, she has a Nigerian son, and it's hard for other people to say his name. And one kid in their classroom said his name the wrong way, and he corrected them. And it was the first time that he ever corrected somebody for saying his name wrong, but it was because of the book.
Motivation.
So those are the things that inspire us to do it.
Man, that's great. And we need more books like that. We don't really see that much representation, especially with our type of people, put into the books that way. So like I said, you're you know, from seeing you, you're having some crazy interactions. You're meeting so many people, especially now with you running for District 3. You know, what has been your favorite, you know, career or professional moment that you've had so far? You know, you probably, like I said, you have so many because you're meeting so many people, but what is one that just probably just stands out right now that you can say?
I don't think one necessarily stands out. Moments that I've had is walking into a room where people said I could never walk into. Like I remember my 5th grade teacher, hopefully she's not watching, but her name was Miss Covington at Edison Elementary. I'm getting all the information out. And I remember she literally told me, I was a class clown. I always got good grades, but I was still like, if I got done first, I'm gonna do it. This is what we do.
For sure.
And so I get done first, and she tells me, you know, you're never gonna be nothing. You're not gonna amount to anything. And those are the things that I remembered in my head. And it was funny because I was at my office one day, and we were hiring for a position, and I seen this resume come across my desk, and it was Miss Covington.
No.
And I actually brought her in, and I interviewed her. She never recognized me. I was like, you remember me?
No.
She was like, no. I said, well, you know, I was the one that you told would never be nothing. I'm that guy. And
Did she get hired?
I hired her. Because I also chose to bless those that curse me. You know, and I think that's a part of the blessing for us is that we don't hold stuff against people when they do us wrong. We lift those people up because actually there's some kind of hurt that's inside of you that caused you to treat me the way you treated me.
I'm still getting there, Brandon.
It's all right. We all is.
I done been the back, you know, backhand somebody.
We all are.
No, I'm getting there. So that's a great point. You
Yeah.
know, you're in a position to do that. And that's why I say there's so many great people in just this one person. And that's what I appreciate about you the most. So what has been some of the challenges and barriers that you might deal with just, you know, being in a different type of work, you know, doing a different type of work that you do?
So the challenges that I have faced, especially going into politics, is not being the person that people think you should be to run for office.
That's really a real thing, huh?
Yeah, it
like
is.
You have to have this certain look.
You have to have a certain look. You mean, I'm not wearing a suit today because I want to.
Right.
It was because my team was like, no, you go out there and you wear that suit. Because there's an image that you have to uphold, right?
I understand that.
But at the same time, the challenges are upholding the image, but also being humble enough to reach down to other people and grab them up, right? And so, you know, the challenge of politics is really keeping your heart clean, making sure that you're connected to the right people, making sure that you're doing it for the right reasons. And whatever your why is, go to sleep with your why, wake up with your why, take a bath with your why, brush your teeth with your why, thinking about your why, because that's what will keep you guided. Because in this world, you can literally steer right. People will say all type of crazy stuff, lies. And that's the challenging part is that you cannot respond to the lies.
You can't.
You cannot respond to the lies.
Yes.
And so, you know, if there's anybody that's out there that's watching that even, you've been lied on, you've been judged for a bad mistake that you made or something that you should have done that you didn't do. I always tell myself that I will outlive every single lie. No matter what comes my way, I will outlive the lie. And it's been proven so far. Not by me, but by God.
Right.
So,
Hey, when you put it that way, there's nothing else, we can really say when it comes that way. That's perfectly said. So like we said, you mentioned some of your favorite moment, obviously, and we just talked about your challenges. So for, being a black man, being a part of ministry, being a part of the community and, the community organizer, as I said, you're a son, you're a friend. What are some things you do to keep yourself mentally balanced? Like, I'm big on mental health. What are some tips you can give for self-care that you might do to anybody out there that's wondering that, how you keep up with all of this? Move. I don't get it sometimes. I feel like, one of your barriers will also been to me, I would have said time management. Like, how do you do everything you do in 24 hours?
it's a trick to it.
So, right, I know what to say. It's a work smarter, not harder.
Right.
But yeah, so what are some of, things you do to keep yourself mentally balanced?
I stay, this is probably cliche, but I really stay in my word. We live in a generation, time is just moving fast. And so if it's not reading, it's listening to it while I'm driving, it's listening to speeches or word while I'm driving or while I'm in the shower.
Is that a certain podcast or thing you listen to, or just?
Not really, just anything and everything that I like to hear. Inspirational.
Okay.
And then quiet moments, because my world is so loud that it's those quiet moments where I can literally hear God's voice. And so quiet moments matter to me. I like drives, and so I can literally get up. I don't like to stay home too long because I have 1,000,001 thoughts in my head.
Right,
so I take drives. Even though gas prices is the way they are, I would take a drive in a minute.
For your mental health?
Yeah. And then spending time with my fiance, she calms me down. She quiets
that peace,
my whole world. And so spending time with her is a blessing as well.
Your
So
mental balance. That's perfect. Perfectly well balanced plan you got there. I never thought about the drive. I would think about that next time. That's a good one to take.
Some people say working out. I try working out. I'm doing boxing now.
Oh, you doing boxing right now?
Yeah, I'm doing boxing now. But working out, it don't too much last for me, as you can tell. But we get there. We gonna get there.
At least you trying. That's all that matters.
I'm ready for summer 2025. Come get me.
You preparing now.
I'm getting there.
Start
I'm
now.
telling
Start
you.
now. So with you being here, I just feel like you have some form of success. Like everything you do, you do it well, and you're only getting better at it. So what is Brandon's personal view of success? How do you view success? You feel successful because what?
I think success is different to everybody.
Everybody, yes.
Success for me is moment by moment. It's not I've arrived. Because I think when you arrive, you stop learning, right? Anytime you can sit back and say, "Ooh, I made it," it's like everything around you just stops, right?
Damn.
So I think it's moment by moment, right? When you can check boxes, that's success. When you can take those things off your bucket list, that's success. Those are moments, right? Just like when people say, dang, man, it's a bad day. It's not really a bad day. It's just you had a bad moment. So how do you take that bad moment and make it into a great moment or another great moment, right? And so I think success is about moments. Success is all about momentum. How can I get to the next moment? So that's how I view success, When we win this election in 2024, that's success.
Right.
Sitting here on this couch with you is success. Writing 2 books, it's success, right? And so all those are moments in time.
Right.
And so I think, at the end of the day, if we look for success 30 years ago when we retire,
right,
then we forget about the dash in the moment, right? The moments of the dash. And so it's all about the moments of success that we have.
Bingo. Well said. Well said. With you being this involved, I think, like you said, just a stand-up guy, I feel like you should have like some favorite influential people that you probably look up to. So we're gonna do your top 5 influential people. Who do you choose? They don't have to have an order, and you might miss some people, but
I'm gonna miss a lot of people,
right.
but I would say my grandmother.
Bingo.
My father.
Okay.
Because he doesn't say much, but when he talks, it's like a slap in your face.
Right.
But him, he's very slow to speak. I would say my mother, because she's the nurturer, right? She's the nosy nurturer. She wants to know everything that's happening. And then I would say for me also Martin Luther King, which is probably
It's a top guy.
a lot of people can say that. And then when it comes to politics, it's Obama. The way he maneuvered when people were literally talking in his face or going to something that he was doing, he kept focused on the prize. And so I would say those are my top 5 influence.
Beautiful. That's a good top 5 there. You can't really miss with the ones you have. We're gonna move into the next segment, unique comparison. All right, so now we're gonna just get into a quick game. It's called Unique Comparisons. I'm gonna give you a this or that, and you're gonna tell me which one you would prefer. You can give a why if you have a why.
Oh,
all right?
Lord.
Yeah, I got you on this one.
Okay.
I had to sneak this in for you. I think it's pretty cool. So the first one, respect or loyalty?
Respect.
Ooh, why you say respect?
Loyalty has an expiration date.
Said that.
It really has. I mean, you can be loyal today, and something can happen, and you'll forget the million good things a person did, and you'll go right to that
It's
one
off
bad
that
thing,
bad. Yeah, off that
and it'll
bad
take
thing.
your whole life.
Ooh.
Council culture, right? Council culture is not built on loyalty.
Right.
It ain't even built on respect,
I'm about to
honestly.
say it's neither of them. It's
But
neither
respect,
of them.
yeah, respect is bigger than me.
That's a good one. Good way to view it. See the future or change the past?
Change the past. I think if we see the future, we'll rush to it, and we'll forget the steps, right? We will try to maneuver our own way to get to what we see. And so I would say go back and change the past. Because if you go to the future, you're going to be anxious. You're going to be anxious to get there. Like, ooh, it's that house that I want. Ooh, look at that car.
Yeah.
Ooh,
I
but
like
then
that version. We never
if you see but if you look at the future never shows you the steps that you have to take just to get to that part.
To get there.
Right? And so for me, it's really looking at the past, because there are some things that I would want to change in the past. And I don't even think that the stuff that I would change in the past would change my future. I think it would just give me a different perspective about it.
Mindset. Yeah.
Right.
Man, that's the first answer we really heard on this one. We asked this probably like three different times or 3 different episodes, and people, it's like a stinger question. You got to choose. So that's a great version for what you said.
But if you look at it, when you get paid, right? When you do your work, you know that on this day your check is coming.
Yeah.
So if you know that your check is coming before you get your check, you already checking off what you about to pay for, what you about to buy.
What I need, yeah.
That's the future, right? That's the anxiety of the future. You're already trying to put in pieces and trying to maneuver on how you get there.
Right.
So I think, a lot of us, God is really telling us, man, I can't even show you the whole picture, because if I show you the whole picture, you'll rush to it and you'll forget the process behind it.
Interesting point right there. I like that version. But you work in these many roles. Are you an early bird or are you a night owl?
Night owl.
You a night owl?
Night owl.
So you can stay up all night and wake up early in the morning and just get to what you got to do the next thing.
I won't say early in the morning, but I can wake up
when you need to.
Yeah.
And be
I
thankful
can
for
wake
that.
up.
Yeah, I feel like it would have probably depends.
Yeah.
Like, you know what I mean? I feel like I could be both depending on what day, what we doing.
I mean, if I'm traveling, I like early flights because I can sleep on the flight.
I like them, or I like red eyes. I'm like you, red eye, late.
Yeah, but I'm a night person. I get more stuff done when it's quiet.
Quiet, nighttime, night owl, okay. Last one, would you rather give up technology, cell phones, computers, social media, or give up all movies, television, and books?
Oh, that's a good question.
I have a tough time with that, but I'm like, the books teach us.
I'm gonna say I'm gonna give up technology.
Ooh.
Right? Now, here's why I'm
That's
giving them
tricky.
technology.
That's tricky.
The reason why I say I'll give them technology is because everybody in our generation, we were like the median between technology and not technology.
Yeah, we seen everything.
Right? We
We
played
seen
tag outside. We was outside playing games.
Right.
We was outside the whole time. When the lights came on
That's
outside,
when
we
you-
was mad to
yeah,
come in the house.
That's when you come in, yeah.
But then we were also the first to have real computers in our classroom. We was the first to have games. We was the first to have cell phones. Remember the chirps?
Chirps,
Where you
sidekicks,
at? All that
that,
stuff.
yeah.
And so I think with my generation, we learned how to communicate with each other. We learned how to spend time with each other.
Mm-hmm.
We learned how to have fun with each other. We learned how to maneuver in hard times.
Right.
I'm seeing now that even in schools, technology has, even though it's a blessing, it's also a curse
Definitely.
in some things, because now kids don't know how to communicate the way they should know how to communicate, right?
Parents either, with the
Yeah,
kid.
and so now you got parents telling their kids off through text messages, and they're in the same room, right?
Right.
And so I think, for me, it's really, I think I would go away with technology.
that's a good one.
And then also technology, because now that we have phones, people think that you're supposed to answer their call when they call you. And if we didn't have it,
Yeah, you wouldn't know.
yeah, write me a note.
That's what I was saying back then, even with dating back then. Like if you say you're gonna be here at this time, you had to
You
be there
had
at that
to be
time,
there.
or else I knew something happened. So that's a great point. I'm kind of with you. I probably wouldn't want to give up books, even though, not all of them, most of them seem a little tainted, but besides the history that's given to us. So I would probably say I like technology. I don't know. That's a tough one for me.
I like it too,
Good
but
answer. Good answer.
I think there's more that people can give you than technology can. There's more that the relationships can give you than technology
Without
can.
that.
Yeah, we lose relationships with technology. Like if you look at it, most arguments happen because you thought somebody said something in the way that they didn't say it through a text message.
Right. The tone of
Technology.
Oh, goodness. Man, great point. So last thing we're going to do, it's called shout outs and, get recognition. So you're going to shout out any, it could be a book, it could be a person, it could be a restaurant, whatever it may be. You shout that out in the camera just to keep people updated right here in the middle. I want to shout you out. So I already told you that, but I'm shouting you out. Shouting out my crew. I always shout out mainstream media, people that's behind the scenes. I'm going to let you go ahead and do your
Absolutely.
share.
Of course, shouting out you and mainstream media. Your team is amazing. This team is amazing. Just from when I walked in, didn't know what the heck I was walking into.
Right.
But it was great. And so also shout out to Pasadena as a whole. There's a lot of work for
Pasadena.
us to do.
Hate or love.
And so, I just encourage people, if you've gone away or you had opportunities to go away and be blessed, come back and share those opportunities back with your city, because we definitely need the support. And I'll stop it at that. Thank you.
Bingo. Where can we find you at? What's your ad? You want to put that in the camera as well? So
Yeah.
people know.
So my Instagram is very easy. It's BD Lamar. My Facebook is Brandon Dante Lamar. My website is brandonforpasadena.com. You can find out all the information about my campaign, and who's endorsed us and a little bit more about me. Also, all my information on there. Hit me up, ask me questions.
Bingo. Thank you so much, Brandon. I appreciate you
Appreciate
coming
you.
on.
Thank
Love you
you.
so much. Appreciate you.
Love you too.
That's a wrap for episode 5.
Maybe it doesn't feel like just simply winning. Maybe power feels more humble than winning. Maybe power feels like when your friends come to you for advice and you watch them flourish. Maybe power feels like when someone thanks you for something you did that changed their life. Maybe power feels blind but intentional, like moving with such clear and consistent intention that you lose sight of what you're physically doing but gain awareness of your energy. Maybe power feels like harnessing your energy and being able to give it to others blindly but intentionally. Be loved.
Now we have coming to perform a powerful piece of poetry, Miss Asia Loren.
So we were made perfectly so that we could live imperfectly. Perfection is the only way I can come to understand how we exist on this floating rock made of water and dirt. Perfection is the only way I can come to understand how plants breathe out what we breathe in, and vice versa. Perfection is the only way I can come to understand how a woman grows an entire human inside of her. A human with a pumping heart and flowing blood, stimulating nerves for the brain, and bone marrow, and toenails. Perfection is the only way I can come to understand how every living thing functions. Without awareness, we breathe, we eat, we procreate. And don't get it twisted, by perfection, I mean God, or whatever higher power created everything. Maybe we were created perfectly, so all that's left to do is be.
Thank you so much for that. That was very, like I said in the beginning, very powerful words and expression. Talk to us about what you have in your hand. You have 2 different books that you created. Tell us where we can find them, and basically what was it? Tell me about the inspiration behind the books first.
Okay. Well, thank you for having me. These are my first 2 books of poetry. I've always been a writer. I've been writing since I can remember, and I never thought to publish anything. But I had some friends read some things that I had been writing, and they were just like, yo, you need to share this. So the gimmick behind the books is that each book is written with a page for the reader to write what they feel. Because I'm an avid reader as well, and I usually write in the margins of my books. Yep. So I wanted people to feel welcome to share their thoughts and get out a little bit of whatever they might have on their mind. The first book is I Am Not a Poet. It's my first book of poetry. It's kind of all over the place. It was kind of a coming out for me, like I'm here, I'm not calling myself anything, but you are welcome to explore, and it's a lot about love and relationships. This was my second book of poetry, Exclusivity. And it's a little bit more toxic and dark.
Okay.
It's more about boundaries. I feel like I'm 31 now, and I think a lot of us will relate to this, but as you're moving into your 30s, you realize the boundaries that you do or don't have with your family, with your romantic partners, with your friends.
Right.
And establishing those things, even within yourself, and it's hard. And sometimes we have a lot of toxic relationships that we've allowed because we don't have boundaries.
We don't have boundaries.
Yes.
Great point.
So
I love that.
That's that one. And they're available online or at any bookstore online that you shop at. Yes, the website is asialoren.com, ASSIA Lauren, LAUREN.com.
Bingo. You heard it there from Asia Loren. Thank you so much for coming to this episode.
Thank you.
Appreciate
so
it.
much.
Thank you.
Thank you.
I gotta get one of these.
Yeah, absolutely.
I'm
I got
kinda
you.
nervous, though.